Hello again, and welcome back to Wingot Place Technological Journey. I have, between episodes, set up a space here for our MV tier machines, given that we now have access to aluminium, which gets us into our MV machine casings. But in order to actually make the MV machine whole, we're going to need MV machine casings, which needs aluminium, wrought iron plate, aluminium plate, and copper cables. Issue with copper cables is that they can't be made by hand. They can only be made in an assembler, and all of the copper cable recipes have some sort of foil, polycaprolactam, or polyethylene, etc. The thin Xylon, yeah. So the polycaprolactam is what this also shows us down here on the top left of this particular chapter, leading right there into the MV machine hole. We need the polycaprolactam in order to make copper cables. So what we're going to do this episode is, I think, get a bit of a setup going so that we can get oil and process it down to polycaprolactam. If we take a look at the recipe for polycaprolactam, so the ingots are just made in a fluid solidifier from the liquid. The liquid is just saltpeter or niter and naphtha. The saltpeter or niter is just a matter of processing some of this. Somewhere in here I've got some saltpeter, I think it is. Or is it niter? There you go. Yeah, I've got a couple of stacks of nether niter ore, which I've processed one full stack, which is just a matter of throwing it through the pulverizer a couple of times and then throwing it through the electrolyzer. And after that, I've got 2 full stacks of niter dust and more than half a stack of saltpeter dust. So those will then result in us having more than half of what we require in order to get polycaprolactam. But the problem is we, of course, need to get the naphtha. And naphtha is a little bit more involved. Steam-cracked light fuel, hydro-cracked heavy fuel, steam-cracked heavy fuel, coal tar, or hydrocracked light fuel. So the easiest way to start with is probably going to be a matter of getting some oil so that we can get one of these. And if we take a quick look, let's see, there's naphtha there, 100, 125, 100, and 750. So the best to get it from would be hydrocracked light fuel, which is just hydrogen, which I'm sure we can get from water pretty easily, and light fuel, although this is an MV tier recipe. MV, those are all MV. Okay, so we can use the distillery at the lower tier. But how do we make something that we are going to be able to do at LV? Well, coal tar. Okay, I'm confused as to where we're meant to get the steam cracked from. Unless, there we go. There's some. Let's have a quick look. So naphtha, sulfuric naphtha. Sulfuric naphtha comes from. Let's see. So naphtha, sulfuric naphtha. So chemical reactor, sulfuric naphtha. So it looks like this is the process that we have to actually go through. So hydrogen, sulfuric naphtha, fine. Nope, we don't have access to any of those. So raw oils. Okay, we can distill raw oil directly into sulfuric naphtha. Okay, so that looks like the process that we're going to have to go with for now. All that said, I think probably the first step is let's go set up a pump so that we can, let's just do a basic pump, so that we can pump up some oil. I believe I know where there is some oil, so let's have a quick look. I'm sure this recipe is easy enough. We need 4 of these, 2 processors, what's that? Medium bronze and an LV machine hole, which I think I'm out of at the moment, but one medium bronze. We're going to need some more medium bronze. So let me go grab some bronze plates and get this ready. And this here is the oil spout that I have previously found. So let's take a look at what we can do about getting up to the top of it so that we can place our oil pump. And here we go. So probably the easiest option will be to drop the steam turbine there, drop the pump next to it. Steam turbine is of course going to need some steam output. And then lastly, the pump, I don't know if the pump will auto output to there. That looks like it's producing oil. It's producing light oil. I don't know whether light oil will be able to be processed. So let's take a look. So naphtha, we want sulfuric. Sulfuric naphtha comes from raw oil, heavy oil, heavy oil. Okay, so we can process light oil. So this looks like it should at least work, because we should be able to do this distillery process to get us some sulfuric naphtha. And it looks like we're fairly quickly processing, fairly quickly cleaning out that oil spike. So, given the fact that up top here, that was all just a single block of liquid, hopefully this will last a whole lot longer now that we're into the reservoir underneath. But I'm going to pop back to base and we will see what we can do about utilizing this light oil to get us a bit of naphtha and move into our MV tier machines. Okay, and we've got our distillery here. So if we drop our distillery and give it the black, yep, cool. And give it the, is that full of steam? I did think that might screw up. Now, the question is, I believe I can fix this. I'm just going to need if we grab one of these tanks and we grab some fluid conduit. There we go. Cool. I'll just pop back over to our oil pump and see if we can fix this up. And as I was breaking it and fixing everything up, I noticed that there is an output port here. So hopefully that will now fill up with oil instead of steam, and we can then use that to feed our base. Perfect. Now, if we pop back home, pop back home, cool. And now we've got a tank full of crude oil, or light oil to be technical. Now that there should, here we go, fill up the basic distillery, and then the last step is so if we want it was over here, light oil with a circuit 2. So we've got a circuit 0, we can easily do this. Perfect. Now that's going to get us some light oil, and then the last step is we're going to need to throw, well, not the last step because we're going to need hydrogen as well, but we're getting sulfuric naphtha, perfect, and then we can throw that into a chemical reactor. I think I don't even, have I even made a single chemical reactor? I'm not sure that I have. Okay, I think I'm probably going to need to make a chemical reactor, but thankfully I have started work already on getting some more LV machines casings. I was going to make 4 more because, frankly, always need more. And the where are we? The assembling machine. We're going to need that. Set to 8, perfect, to make our LV machine holes. our LV machine casings, and then combine those with the wrought iron plates, the tin cable, in order to make our LV machine holes. Perfect. So we've got 4 of those. Now we do need a chemical reactor. So pop in here, chemical reactor, LV machine hole, electric motor, tin rotor. Tin rotor is just 4 tin ingots, a couple of glass, a couple of primitive processors, and I think that was a couple of tin cables on the side. So it should be nice and easy to make if we grab a couple of glass and a electric motor. Yeah, a couple of tin cable and 4 tin. And 2 processors. Perfect, that should be everything we need to make a chemical reactor. And then the last step is we are going to actually need to make the hydrogen as well, which I've not currently got set up. What am I doing? Yes, tin rotor. So fluid extractor, we've got a whole lot of bronze there. Okay, what I might do is I might clear that, use that to grab the bronze, throw in our tin, and then we can make some more bronze rotors. There was something we were needing bronze rotors for. It might be the advanced steam turbine. Yep. So we're trying to make the advanced steam turbine. We've got bronze rotors currently on the way. The medium steel pipes is just steel plates. That's nice and easy. We've already got our primitive assemblies and copper cables we're working on, and electric motors. We've got a whole lot of 2x copper wire, magnetic steel rods, aluminium rods in our inventory, and we're just working on the copper cable, as you can see. That is it. Oh, right, okay. Graphical bug. Perfect, and then we grab that. That will give us the tin rotor as well. And then the tin rotor will give us our basic chemical reactor. Perfect, which that was our first basic chemical reactor. Somewhere in here. I guess we don't need to go review it or tick it off or whatever. I don't even see where it is. There we go, basic chemical reactor. It's a requirement to do the gold line. But if we, so pop in here, may as well put the chemical reactor right here. And then we want the sulfuric naphtha, but we also want some hydrogen. And hydrogen can come from liquid air is probably the simplest way. Distilling liquid air is probably the way that we should go with. Also, I think what I might do is I might just get this out of the way so that this, let's have a quick look here. So it uses 450 to make 900. So it is increasing quantities here. We're going to get more than a full stack's worth. But what we can do, grab that, and then that will be plenty. So we'll be able to reuse this distillery in a moment. But, of course, we want to make some liquid air. And liquid air with a config 8 makes hydrogen. Not much, but 100 buckets to 5 millibuckets of hydrogen. Okay. And if we take a look here, we need 2 whole buckets of hydrogen. Okay, I wonder if there's a better option for getting a whole lot of hydrogen. There is 28 pages here. So let's see, water. There you go, water plus hydrogen, oxygen. Cool. So this is probably the option we'll go with. Let me grab a bucket of water and use our electrolyzers. So pop over to here, we've got a hole because that's where the distillery was. But our electrolyzer here, throw in a bucket of water, and it's going slow, but it is going. Cool. And then we can use a couple of fluid tanks. What have I got there? Drilling fluid. I think we'll clear that one. Perfect. And then as soon as that one's done, we'll have some hydrogen, combine that with the naphtha that we've got coming in here. So sulfuric naphtha, and we need a circuit is the last step. A circuit set to 0. So let's go grab one more, because basically every chemical reactor is going to need its own, and so may as well not like steal it from the distillery or anything like that. So primitive processor circuit, good. Circuit set to 0, which it already is by default, and then we can throw that into here, and then all we need is the hydrogen. So we pop over here to our almost finished electrolyzer. Perfect. And then we can grab a hydrogen, may as well grab the oxygen. I think we'll see what we can do about throwing a whole lot more water in here to process a chunk more of this sulfuric naphtha. But for the time being, this should get us our first naphtha. And then our naphtha in a chemical reactor with niter will make us our polycaprolactam. In fact, what I might do is I might take that naphtha back out, grab all of that. That light oil we can probably get rid of. And there we go, hydrogen sulfide and naphtha. So we can easily grab the naphtha and grab some of that niter that we made before. In fact, let me take a quick look here. So, basic pump. So I need to tick this one off. We made the basic pump. I might have to go quickly grab that. And then sulfuric naphtha. We've made that. Cobalt, molybdenum, okay. And then we've made the naphtha bucket. So I just need to grab the pump in order to progress that. So I will go do that quickly, and I'll be back in just a moment. And given we figured out how the functionality works, I spent a little bit of time in creative just making it all look a bit prettier. We've basically just got some dark clear glass here with some dark stained glass on the inside of that. Dark clear glass. Yeah, sorry, there's a layer of dark clear glass there. But yeah, I believe that's dark stained glass on the inside, a little bit of scaffolding, and then just some chiseled blocks of iron at the top. And I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. For a little bit more of a sort of industrial, permanent sort of look for our oil drill there. Anyway, now that our oil pump is running, let us firstly make sure that we're not in creative. We are in creative, there we go, and pop back to our base. Perfect. So we now have access to sulfuric naphtha, which means we've got access to sulfuric naphtha plus hydrogen makes the... What are we trying to make? Oh, we're currently making naphtha itself. So sulfuric naphtha, that's not going to let me do that. Let's grab that out and put that in there. Oh, because this was still pretty full. Okay, I see. What I might do, take that back out, put that in, and we can clear this out later on once we've processed a bit. I think I'm going to just go fill a full tank worth of water and electrolyze that to get all of the to get a whole lot of hydrogen so that we can process a whole lot more of this naphtha. I'll be back soon once I've let this run for a while, given how slow that electrolyzer process is. And now we've got 108 buckets worth of naphtha. That should be plenty for now. So let's take a quick look. Polycaprolactam requires naphtha and saltpeter or niter. So we'll grab that saltpeter and niter that we put away before. Also, I noticed that it's only like 576 naphtha, so we've got a very large amount sitting here at the moment. But somewhere in here is our saltpeter. Rock salt, saltpeter. There we go. And no, hey, what? Salt. Oh, right, because there's a lot of a lot of niter sitting in here, not a lot of saltpeter. Perfect. So throw both of those into a chemical reactor, and let's just double check. There is no configuration card, so hopefully we should be able to just go back to our chemical reactor, throw in some naphtha, throw in a bit of niter, and it's not currently processing. What if we take that circuit out? Is it stuck? What's going on here? That is an LV recipe, naphtha and saltpeter or niter. Naphtha and niter. That feels like it should be working. LV, 30 EU per tick, naphtha and niter. Okay, let's try taking that out, put in saltpeter, and it works. So I wonder if, so this niter here is thermal foundation, this niter dust. Okay, so I think niter dust is different to niter. Apparently niter doesn't even exist. Niter dust can be electrolyzed to saltpeter dust, so that's what I think we'll probably do with this spare, or with this niter dust that we've got sitting here, as soon as this finishes converting all of that water. But if we pop back here, that is making our polycaprolactam. Perfect. And then, of course, we need to convert that polycaprolactam into the foils. And in order to do that, let's take a quick look here. So we have figured out how to make polycaprolactam, and it even says, feel free to batch this for now, you'll get renewable polyethylene. So the fact that we're doing this all by hand is fine. It looks like we do need polycaprolactam sheets. So foils come from sheets. Sheets are made in a fluid solidifier with a plate mold. So let's do that. Let's grab a hammer and a shape card. That's a rotor there. I don't think we've got a plate card. We don't. So need to make that one. And plates are made. So 4 steel plates gets us empty shaped plate. I'll be back in a sec once I've made the plate mold. Okay, and with our plate mold here, we can then take this rotor out for a second, put in our plate, and then we just need to grab some of this polycaprolactam and drop that into there, and we're getting our polycaprolactam sheets. Perfect. And then we just need to run those through a cluster mill in order to get our polycaprolactam foils. Maybe we'll grab 16, there we go, and then cluster mill is there. Perfect, and we're getting polycaprolactam foils, and there is a full stack. Awesome. So that gets us some ingots as well, and then we can finally go on and make our copper cables. So polycaprolactam foil plus copper wire makes copper cables. That's right. So I did wonder why I made so many spare of those, and it's because we need them in order to make our copper wires. So all of those are done. We need copper cables. Copper cables are made with a 24, and so we need that, and this needs to be set to 24. Perfect, and then that should start getting us some copper cables. Perfect. And we can use those to make our electric motors, which we've got enough here to make half a stack of electric motors because we've got 32 magnetic rods. I might be short on aluminium rods. I'm going to have to go back and take a look at that. But we can Okay, so it does use quite a fair bit of polycaprolactam in order to... Oh, tiny pile of potassium. Okay. In order to get our copper cables. It uses... Well, it looks like it uses 4 each, so I guess we make 16. And if we grab, let's say, 48, 48 is divisible by 4. So let's throw those into the cluster mill as well. I don't know why, I just always tend to like grabbing things that work out to a stack or multiples of a stack. Anyway, there you go, 16 copper cables. So we just need to grab a whole lot of polycaprolactam and process this through in order to get lots of copper cables. That should get us almost a full stack. In fact, it probably will be a full stack of copper cables. So just going to let that work away. In the meantime, let's go see. I can't remember whether I did or didn't make aluminium rods. And it looks like maybe I didn't. But I do have aluminium, half a stack there, so I think I grabbed these out and just didn't process them. If we, though, throw these into the lathe, which is just here, that will get us a full stack of aluminium rods, which will be what we need to make half a stack of electric motors. While that's working though, we want to make some MV machine casings as well, which is going to use a whole lot more aluminium plates. And then of course there's the aluminium plate there in order to finish the MV hull. So if we take a look here, we've only got 47. So how about so if we grab 32 and 4 more, that will allow us to make 4 MV machine hulls at least. And then we can worry about expanding later on. Just check that that's a 0. And then we, of course, are going to want to set up some infinite aluminium generation sooner rather than later. So probably we will be looking to get a clay line up and running fairly quickly. Meanwhile, the electrolyzer should be finished, so we should be able to throw this niter dust in there and start getting our saltpeter dust. Perfect. So copper cable still producing away. That does look like it's going to get to exactly 64. And at that point we can make our electric motors, but we're of course going to need even more copper cables. So let's get that going as well. Okay, and with those aluminium plates and these copper cables, that should be everything we're going to need to make 4 machine hulls. And if we just quickly grab our aluminium rods, we should be able to make the 32 electric motors that we were ready to make before, clear our inventory a fair bit, and then take a look here. So in order to make this, we're going to need an MV machine hull, which needs an MV machine casing, which is done in an assembler. So let's quickly pop back over to our assembler, change that config, and we want to make 4 of those. Perfect, so then that should make us our MV machine casings, which we can then turn into MV machine hulls and unlock our MV tier. Very nice. It may be worth getting the advanced steam turbines, or at least a couple of those straight up. Here we go. Perfect. And then we need a couple of primitive processors or assemblies and some medium steel pipes in order to finish this. I think we've only got 2 medium assemblies. I thought we made like 16. But there's only 2 here. Maybe I only made 4, I don't quite remember. But we need that. We need 4 medium steel pipes, which we don't currently have. Okay, and so we need medium steel plates. Throw in these steel plates. There we go. And, or medium steel pipes, whatever. There we go. 2 advanced steam turbines. Perfect. So we've got the MV machine hull, and we are going to be able to start making our MV tier machines. And so I think a couple of things that we're going to do, we're going to want to set up a gold line. But even before we do that, I think we probably want to look at setting up a clay line, because if we take a look at aluminium dust right here, then we should be able to get that from electrolyzing clay, I think. Where clay dust, there we go. So we can get aluminium, silicon, lithium, sodium, and water from clay dust, which is an MV tier recipe that we now have access to. Clay dust we can get, I believe, well, we can get it from clay itself, is probably the easiest option. So we'll be able to set up a pulverizer to turn clay blocks. So if we take a look here, clay, the clay itself can come from sand and water, which we should be able to pretty easily do. There we go, sand, water, clay. Sand we can of course make from gravel in a pulverizer, and gravel we can, well, we could use a forge hammer to break down cobblestone, which is what we might do, because otherwise we are going to need to make dirt. Yeah, so I think probably what we'll do is we'll look to get a forge hammer in order to turn cobblestone into gravel, and then we can turn gravel into sand, sand into clay, clay into clay dust, and then clay dust into aluminium, and the aluminium can be automatically processed in a blast furnace. But that's of course setting up the clay line. Setting up possibly the gold line is something we're going to have to do next episode. For now, we at least have managed to get to our MV tier machines. So thank you for watching. Stay happy and healthy, and I hope to see you in the next one.